Okay, Lakeville, top tier, similar comps. They have a JT88 and a Roomba, which is actually sort of good for you because at least one of them will camp back in that like sort of H4 area, if not both of them. Why do I not have? Oh, there we go. Otherwise, so no artillery, which is interesting as well. If you get any eyes down the middle, you can actually go down over into this area to start to get early shots. You don't want to move too much further forward depending on how they light here. If they understand how the lights work, they don't really have any speed tanks. If they understand how the light works, you start getting lit right around this area right there, so you just want to stay a little bit further back than that. Otherwise, you basically, what I try to do in this situation is try to get early shots if I think I'm going to have lights. If I'm not going to have lights, I try to get out here so that if we send anybody down the middle, I can get shots through the middle. And people like going up here. I do not like going up here. I think it just makes it easier for you to get shot. I mean, there's more angles that you can get shot from, and it doesn't really give you any benefit from being down there. Tiger P! Tiger P! You fixated a little bit too much on the Leo when you could have been getting shots on the Tiger P. You're still a little bit too fixated on the Leo. So the JT88 is in the middle. That's not entirely unexpected, especially if he's going to start pushing up there. Your guys are being a little bit passive over here. You don't want to get caught out here if they have control of the city, so that's something where you want to go back. See how your guys are all on this A line. You've got 5 guys in the valley, which is never good. He's behind that little rock. The guy over there, this guy actually has shots on him. He's just not really facing the right direction. Oh, good. You were able to shoot him in the face, which is always good. So they've got a lot of guys in the valley too, which is good for you. If your guys eventually get over to this city, you should be in a position where you can support them. Otherwise, you can get down in here, and then see how where this JT88 is. You can shoot him as he moves up. It becomes really, really easy to shoot him in the side if you're in this alley right here. He's vulnerable all the way up to right there, and then he's protected for, you know, maybe about like a 10 to 20 meter range, and then he's vulnerable again until he gets over here. He got killed by the KV3 from back here, so that means that he didn't push far enough up over here. He was too far back. But that sort of exposes the danger of pushing that middle when you don't really have them in the city. This is the problem with the T69, the accuracy, not super great. The last shot that you took was not a good shot, it was at an overly angled T29 using AP rounds in this, which is 175, I think? 173. Yeah, that's going to be sketchy. They are pushing in, so this is a good position to be in. You see that your team is melting. You just want to deal as much damage as you can here, because these guys, no matter what they do, they're going to die.
It's a trap!
If he's not aiming at you, let your reticle go all the way in. That way you can get the full clip off with the maximum effect. Whenever you're playing a clip tank, you always want to try to be as efficient as possible without taking damage. That's one of those things where if he turned his gun towards you, yeah, you can take a snapshot and then back off. But as long as he's aiming at something else, I mean, make sure that you're all the way aimed and take the shot, because it's going to take you a long time to reclip. Right? You've fired 2 clips at these guys and you've done 750 damage. That's not good enough.
It's a trap!
That was kind of a steep angle as well, but it pinned, so that's good. And then if you're really efficient, you can clip out these guys afterwards, but you need to actually get clipped. That T-34 will keep pushing forward. It looks like they're both pushing forward, so it'll be really easy for you to come up behind them. The Achilles might be on this hill back here, but the fact that you haven't seen him yet suggests that he's going to be a little bit slow. And you want to try to avoid getting proxied as you push over here, if you can. The Achilles killed your Tiger 2 over on this side. Kill the T-34 first. Always kill the one-shot tank. The T-34 might not be a threat to you, but he's a threat to your friend, right? So you want to be careful and be sure you take out those one-shot tanks first. And it's different if, you know, one of them was camping you and the other one was, but they were both looking this way. So you had your choice of who to kill, and you chose to use 3 shots on the Panther and then 1 shot on the T-34. It should have been the other way around. Alright, so your guys pushed a little bit oddly into the city, right? They push themselves into a flank. Essentially, they have an IS-3 in the middle. You don't really have much choice. Their Achilles stayed back. Their Achilles is over on this side someplace now. So the best thing for you to do is to actually sit back. You want them to come all the way up here, and then just make sure that you don't get attacked through the back. And what you're really hoping for here is for them to come in one at a time, because you don't really have much else going for it.
It's a trap!
Rut-row. Oh, yes, that works. Run, man, run. And then you can back up behind this rock right here just until you drop spot, because these guys down there can shoot you. And you want to kind of gauge whether you need to repair or not. I would argue that I probably would have sat there until you determine that you absolutely need to
it's a trap!
To repair. That's a good reload. You're fairly certain that everything is in front of you, so that's fine. One thing that you can actually do is get in over here, because that's going to allow you to get hull down, which is one thing that you can't really do effectively over here. You're not afraid of artillery, and at some point, presumably, they're going to push you. Rut-row.
It's a trap!
A lot of those situations, you're not going to be able to put that guy out, but you should try. You split up a little bit too much there. Oh, but you got the ammo rack. Oh, this is going to hurt. Yeah. So I think one of the things is that early on, I think you probably should have. You can go here for early lights. Early shots, early damage. But once that is no longer an option, or you're not going to get lights over there, I would head over to this city side. I don't think you would have won either way, because your guys literally just got smoked on both sides. If you weren't here on this side, these guys would have smoked your team on this side, and if you're not on this side, then these guys are going to get smoked on this side. But I generally think that it's better to be able to hold the city and lose the valley than the other way around, all things being equal. Yeah, I think that was going to be a difficult game to win. Just small quibbles where you got to shoot that T-34 and be a little bit more efficient, particularly when tanks are not aiming at you. Be a little bit more efficient with your clip. And then on these guys, as they come over here, you want to be able to light them as they come in, ideally from a hull down position, where you can get some easy shots, and they have to cross a plane to get to you. And so the two positions for that are back here and basically down over here. And you notice that where you were at, all they had to do was just drive around that corner, and they just got shots anywhere on your tank. At least over here you can duck up and down and be in a position where you can be a little bit hold down. And so if we look at the stats, yeah, this IS-6 was the guy in the valley. So that means your I think the T-29s are in the valley, or one of the T-29s, one of the T-34s, or something like that. Anyways, the guys. Oh no! The T-34s were the guys that were on the A line, so they probably eventually went down. Anyways, so you did a lot of damage. You just didn't get enough damage out of your town guys, basically. Especially when they lost that JT-88 because he just pushed forward foolishly. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I do not see a way that would have potentially come out a win. Sorry. GG though. I mean, you're still relatively efficient with your shots, although you bounce probably a couple easy shots on the T-29, particularly with that first clip. Just something to remember when you're running those clip tanks. You really want to try to be efficient, especially when they start pushing in like that, or you need to push somebody. You want to be sure that you get an efficient clip off, and then be someplace safe, unless you actually need to take hits for your team. Alright, Bat Chat game on Live Oaks. Alright, no artillery, north spawn, and let's see. Pretty much the same comp. So the advantage the south has is pushing through this north, as I've said. One of the things that you can do in the Bat Chat is you can counter scout by pushing through this guy. Basically what you want to do is push him to this B5 area. You want to keep him out of this area over here. If he sits back over here, that's okay. If he sits up here, that's bad for your team, because there's a critical path as they cross through right there that you want to be able to cut off. Barring that, if you do that, then I'll do that sometimes depending on what the comp is and depending on how much support I have. Basically all you have to do then is, once your team gets into position, all you gotta do is just back straight off over there, and you come back over the south. The other thing that you want to do if you go south like this is you want to be sure that you secure this area. You want to prevent them from being able to push in here, and I think we did a highlight on that someplace where I think we're in a T57 on this map, and basically we try to counter these guys from being able to push in there. But you've got a lot of support coming down this way, which is good news. Well, a lot of people like going where that bulldog is. I think you have to be careful going in there. I actually prefer playing close to the bridge. It actually protects you from a lot of direct fire. You want to shoot, you absolutely want to shoot this 140 coming in. Oh my god, go into sniper mode. Or maybe the thing is bugged. Yeah, so anyways, as I was saying about efficient clips, you just went 1 for 5. That ain't helping your team. So what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to get these guys, damage on these guys as you're coming in. And one of the things that this should highlight for you or anybody who's watching is that the Bat Chat gun is not super reliable at sniping. So you want to be sure that you're in a position where you can guarantee damage, and usually that means point blank range. Luckily their team is sitting pretty far back. I'm not sure, so you were sitting up there, you didn't really need to be up there, especially since their guy was right down there, and that guy that was down there is the guy that let you that Bat Chat that was still alive there. So you took an extra damage. Yeah, it's weird, the thing keeps popping about. This is like a weird zoomish issue. Not exactly sure why, since it's from a 9.5 version of the game. So I can't really tell if you're auto-aiming or if you're actually aiming in there. It seems weird. Let's presume that you know what you're doing. That guy's gonna provide that guy with a little bit of cover now. They've still got a lot of tanks down there, but you technically outnumber them. You just need to get into a position where you can deal some damage. And then see how they're mostly on this side over here. That potentially means you can come up over on this side, particularly for this T-34, right? If you get up over here, you should have shots on this T-34. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of sniping in a bat chat. That's not really what you want to do. So you've gone through 2 clips and you've done 1,500 damage. So 4 shots of damage in 2 clips. Considering the fact that with your first clip you went 1 for 5, that means in your second clip you went 3 for 5. From 3 for 5 from that range is probably acceptable, but it's not really that good. So, like, you should think about it this way. You did 3 shot of damage for your reload, which is, what, like 40 seconds, something like that. I don't remember the exact number. Which is not very good DPM. That's like maybe 1,300 DPM.
It's a trap!
The advantage of the bat chat is absolutely what you're doing right now. You go in and you just wreck people in the face, right? Lol. 4 for 4. That last shot was kind of a lowish percentage shot, but we'll take it. But that's absolutely the way to play the bat chat. If only you had done that when your teammates that were up there were still alive. And then you absolutely need to come back because they've dominated your north. These guys all need to come back. And essentially what you'll do is you leave a guy like over in this area, over here, or even under the bridge to spot if they try to come back. And you just send everyone else back. And you hope that they try to cap instead of kill you. Let's see how you're sending your IS-7, your 704 going forward. You're never going to get shots on that awful Panther. See how where this ISU is? This ISU's in the same spot as you are, spotting wise, same place as you are, even though he should be back a little bit in that bush. So what you actually need to do is you need somebody out here to shoot this awful Panther.
It's a trap!
This is good. This is what you want to see. One on cap. Their eyes are down. Everything else is slow. So then all you need to do to spot is just be on these railroad tracks over here. Just peek over a little bit. You can light these guys back. These guys don't need to move forward any more than where they already are at. All they need is eyes. And then I try not to go down here unless I have to.
It's a trap!
They only have one on cap. Presumably the Conqueror is still back there someplace. You want to be careful about how you poke up here. You'd much rather go down. See where this Bulldog is going? The Bulldog will probably light for you. The Bulldog can get one shot by that Foch though, so he has to be careful. Presumably he probably just rolled back and he's behind the corpse of the Carniverne. Oh, looks like he went back even a little bit further.
It's a trap!
And so if you push up over here, you'd never want to push up to where you just pushed up. You always want to push up through that back line. Otherwise you can be shot when you're going across there. And then you have to be careful. Presumably the Waffle is still in that same E3-ish area. But the Conqueror is can potentially shoot you.
It's a trap!
Lol. You got lucky there. It would have been better for you to come further along this ridge and then come over, right? Because you want to create a flanking situation with you and the Bulldog. At the very least, you know, the Foch will have to turn towards you, which will give the Bulldog free shots into the Foch. So they counter pushed here, which is fine. And then so now all you have to do is just set up for them. You can't really push into them. You don't have the health to do that. And so what you ideally want to be able to do is you want to be the guy in the front that lights for these guys but does not shoot. One is to conserve shells. Your team is going to need to deal damage, which means you need to keep them alive. So this is a good place to go in this particular scenario, presuming that they actually push this way. Yeah, you only really need to watch the north just a little bit. You can play, like, if the Bulldogs plays in this area right here, he can watch any approach on the north side. The vision gap that you have here is anything coming along this side, you won't see. Don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. Let your team kill this guy. Absolutely 100% let your team kill this guy. He's a very bad 110. He's a 44% 110. He's a tier 8. If he tries to hide behind that guy, just let him. Just let him. The ISU just shoot him through the face.
It's a trap!
Lol, the 110 killed the waffle. You should have used your last shell on him. You might as well reload. Actually, you might as well take this shot and then reload. Try to scare him into thinking that you have more shots than this, because you're gonna need, you know, every single shell in order to kill him.
It's a trap!
And then so the way that you make him think that you're not reloading is to still stay in that area, right? You want to sort of pseudo poke, but not really poke. You want to keep him lit. Otherwise, if he thinks you're reloading, all he's going to do is just push you. And you have to push that guy, unfortunately, because you can't play this side. There's no way.
It's a trap!
Lol. So, yeah, this is not good. This is not going to end well. Yeah, so anyways, not that it would have made a difference. You probably still would have been killed. But you want to play low over here. You know that they're sending their tanks from this side. There's one guy on this side. You're probably still not going to be able to kill him. But you at least have a potential escape route if he misses or, you know, 0 damages you or something like that, right? Then you have a potential... Possibly, it's kind of a remote possibility. You have to, you know, deal damage with every single shot, but you could have killed this guy and then potentially gotten out. Still would have lost the game because all they would have had to do is put one on cap. You would have had no shells, etc., etc., etc. But that's one of the drawbacks with the bat chat is that, you know, you've only got 30 shells, and so it's really, really, really important to make it count. You know, and when we talk about you firing that first clip and going 1 for 5. You know, that's not good enough. You know, if you're gonna use, what is that, 1/6 of your ammo, you need to do more than one shot of damage, one you know, penetrating shot of damage. So you gotta, you know, similar to what I was saying with the T69, make sure you make your clips count. You camped a little bit too much, particularly when you had both of your E50Ms up here. If you were up there with them, you probably could have pushed those guys and done exactly what you did a little bit later, and maybe your E50Ms would have been alive, and that could have been huge for you guys coming back. Okay, so if we look at the stats... Yeah, their Conqueror cleaned up on that north area. No, I wouldn't really expect that. I wonder what it looked like from his point of view. Yeah, 18 for 27. With the bat chat, not that great. I think you just needed to be a little bit closer for a lot of those shots, but was a glorious effort. GG. Alrighty, another bat chat game, this time on Serene Coast. Alright, Serene Coast, tier 10. you have a faster comp, platoon of bat chats is potentially really good, especially if the bat chats work together against a comp like this. You should be able to pick out, basically call your shots, find a guy that's ISO'd, take all 3 of your bats, just jump him, then run away, reload, and then rinse and repeat. So definitely important to go out to this one line early. You basically just take all your bats out there. If the leopard is there or any of the lights are there, you just jump them and then just jump back over the hill. You want to prevent them from getting eyes up here if at all possible. Don't stop here. Don't stop here. You don't really get super shots here. Like, you have to wait until they go all the way forward. But in the meantime, you're letting them take all of this ground right here, right? Oh, you got tracked. That's good.
It's a trap!
You can shoot through the side of that E5. Oh man, so you don't want to sit on that ridge though. Yeah, like if you're over where your buddy bat chat is, you can basically turn around, back up over the little hill there, and you can get shots on those guys. They're a little bit more frontal. But see how they pushed in here? They were strong. They pushed in there, and you didn't have the firepower there to counter them. So you want to just leave. And everybody wants to just leave, right? And then, what I was saying is you look for those pockets. This Leo 1 is ISO'd. He's got a 5120 with him. That's not going to be good enough. Unfortunately, one of your buddies sat up on that ridge, got himself blown to pieces. Go try to save this T-49. You can, see how the Leo is separating from the 5120? This 5120 can no longer help the Leo. You're doing a little bit too much snipey-dipey. You could actually jump the 5120 right now if you want. All you need is one of your buddies to do one shot of damage to him. But they separated there and you didn't take advantage of it. And then now you're going in, right, when they can be in position to go back. The 5120 already used at least one shot. And then your buddies just got lit up. Man, that is unfortunate. Do not want to ram even a Leo. Now run away! So what should happen is if you are in a one-shot bat, what you need to do is you need to play sniping lanes from the back, not push forward. And also you guys needed to do what you did about 15 seconds earlier. Then, well, maybe like 20 seconds earlier, right? At a point where those guys were separated and involved with the T-49, you don't want to create distinct engagements where it's like, okay, well, there's a Leo against a T-49 and he's gonna win because the T-49 didn't pin his shot. And you wait for that to finish, and then you go over and you fight one of them. But by then, the Leo has gotten into a position where he can get back to the to shoot the other guy. See, and so this is a difficult confrontation right here. You can get a shot off. You don't want to stay here. You don't want to overplay this. Get shots when he starts turning it all the way around. You want to be out of there. You already want it to be gone. You did not want to take that shot of damage. No matter what you do, barring setting him on fire twice or ammo racking him, he is not going to die in your clip. Right, so taking that shot of damage was, entirely pointless. You take what you can get, and then you just go off and you reload. You get someplace safe and reload, right? And you've got 800 more health. And then now he's clippable. And then you didn't really need to leave that position where you're at, but that's fine since you're reloading anyways.
It's a trap!
And then get up in there so you're safe from artillery. And And then what you want to do is turn around and see if you can pick up that bulldog if he's over there. You don't want to face people frontally, even if they're getting onto your cap.
It's a trap!
Of course, if they're willing to just drive into you, reload, reload, reload. Okay, now don't reload because the bulldog is back there. Just no. You want to clear out a side. So there wasn't anything that you could have possibly done to this guy, short of ammo racking him or setting him on fire and him not having a fire extinguisher. There's no way that you were going to do anything to that. Oops, damn it. To that E5. So you would have been better off using that one shell to kill the bulldog and then get out, and then you would have been reloaded. Even if they put both on cap, you would have been reloaded before those guys were able to cap out. You would have probably died anyways. But this game was lost because your Bat Chat platoon traded really poorly on this line, and a lot of that was basically camping this ridge. Whenever you find yourself driving over a ridge like that to shoot at things, that means that 10,000 other things are going to be able to get shots at you. And I bet if we look at the damage, that's gonna be reflected on that. So when the strength of the Bat Chat, you know, as we've said in the previous game, is basically in pushing people who pushing these pockets where they're ISO'd or low health, and just wiping them out and then running away. And then a perfect example of that is that as you saw the Leo get separation from the 5120 in the middle, that gives you an opportunity to jump on that Leo before the 5120 gets into the area. And people really underestimate, and you go, oh, well, that guy's only 10 seconds away from that guy, but people underestimate how much shit can happen in 10 seconds. You absolutely could have wrecked that Leo and then been out of here and maybe taken one shot from the 5120. And that's the nice thing about being in the Bat Chat, is that you've got this bursty clip and you're pretty much the fastest tank in the game. You know, there's nothing that can catch up to you. So you want to identify those situations where you can jump on people and then just run away. Alrighty, so if we look at the stats, this is not good. 8 shots fired, 2 penetrations, 8 shots fired, 5 penetrations isn't horrible, but I don't know, 1939 means he basically traded for his own tank in one of, you know, the best burst tanks in the game. In a map and a sort of comp that I think favors the Bat Chats. I felt like if you guys stuck together, even if you guys just stuck together and you all peeked up on the one line and you go, oh crap, they're sending a lot of stuff here, and then you just left, if all three of you guys just pushed that 5120 and that Leo in the middle that were ISO'd, if you just push them all together at full health, you guys would have just wrecked face. And that's sort of the strength of it. When you run a platoon like this, that's what you need to do. You're not trying to snipe. That's not the strength of the tank. You're trying to find those pockets and just absolutely crush them. You were pretty efficient with your shots, which is good. Just again, I think you got to identify windows of trade and work on understanding the limitations of your clip. Like that, where that E100 was, you needed 2 clips to kill that E100. So all you need to do is get a partial clip into him, and he's not going to turn around and drive back across, you know, the water in order to get you. And even if he does, all you got to do is just drive the other way, right? So you get 3 shots on him. His turret's already almost fully rotated. So then you just get yourself someplace safe, reload, and then you can, you know, get the other 3 shots that it takes to kill him later. Right. Instead, what happened is you got 5 shots on him, but he shot you for 800 and something damage, 823 damage, and that is not an acceptable trade. And you go, oh, but I got, you know, I did 5 shots of damage to him. You know, that's what? That's like almost 2k damage. But yeah, but he got 800 damage for when he should have gotten 0. Right, and that's, you know, over a, you know, that's almost half of your tank's health. So you just have to be careful on trades like that. And it's different if that's a situation where you absolutely need to clip him out for whatever reason. You know, sometimes it's okay to take that shot of damage, but in that particular case, I don't really feel like you need to take that damage at all. And that could have sort of saved you a little bit later. But Hard to say. Overall, good game though. I mean, what I always look for when I look at clip tanks like the Batchat or the T69 is I look for shot efficiency, and it ends up being really, really important. GG. Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it's difficult to be aggressive in a tank that really has no armor, but if you have a platoon of Batchats in that situation on a map that's basically a bunch of alleys, what you want to look to exploit that. I mean, that's the reason, presumably, why you are in a Batchat platoon. It's to exploit the fact that you've got 3 bursty, really fast tanks. So the worst thing that you can do with a lineup like that is snipe and be separated. You just want to identify pockets and just crush. Crush and then run away. Alright, T49 on Swamp. Alright, let's see. Tier 10 game, lots of tank destroyers. Similar comp, they have one more RD than you, which is potentially useful. They don't really have a whole lot of pushing tanks though. I mean, they'll be able to push this north side, but it's going to be difficult for them to push across because they don't have a lot of like high tier mediums. I mean, I guess you don't either. So basically an IS-7 is going to be the pushing tank. And the reason why that's important is that, so it's easy for the south to secure the south side, it's relatively easy for the north to secure the north side, but then it's important about what you do. So again, if you watch any of our swamp highlights, what you should do from the south spawn is immediately go over here, make sure that they're not coming across here. People less and less are crossing this bridge. All right, the puppy meta is shifting away from going over there, but you want to be able to see it. The puppy meta is shifting towards sending some people in through here. So what I typically do, and this is the same thing that I advocate in organized play, is you actually send a light or a fast tank to scout this ridge here just a little bit more to your left. You can spot anybody coming through the middle area there as well, because what you want to do is you want to prevent people from getting up under here. Nobody usually comes up underneath here early game because it's too easy to get shot from the other side, but a lot of times what you'll see is guys get in behind this over here or this over here, which can be a pain in the rear for you later in the game. So they are sending an IS-7 across this side. It's unfortunate that you didn't spot that guy earlier, or maybe you did and I just didn't notice. The 90 is not a terrific sniping tank, so yay for dealing some damage to that range. See how you have an LTTB out there? He's not going to really last. You don't have enough fire support for that LTTB. For these guys to hit, the IS-7 needs to be like right here, so the LTTB needs to just fall back. This IS-7 is not a very good player. You could potentially go over here, right? You've got a strong push over on this side, and they've got 2 10s on the south over here. So I'd actually advocate just leaving this side altogether. Go and support your guys over here. Get up underneath these guys. Light this over here so that your guys get shots. You're not really going to do much on this side, particularly using the 152 from this range. You've got a 2 268s over here, and that should be more than enough to deal with that. This IS-7, if he pushes, again, not a very good player. So I think it's more important to make sure that you go and help these guys over here. The south is not going to be an issue right now. You're not going to have shots on that guy until he comes out, well, unless you move forward, or he comes out over on this corner by the LTTB, right? Which is what we said for the 268s, and the 268s are still going to have better shots than him. You could go over there and kill the IS-7 if you want, but I don't think that that's going to be really useful anyways. You've got control of this area right here, which is fantastic. That's absolutely what you want, but these guys need people to light this right here, because the next thing to do is to cross here. To cross there makes you vulnerable to being lit from there, right? And that makes you vulnerable to being shot from pretty much anywhere, which is why you want to be able to get up over here. See where your E75 is going? That's great. You need to get people up over here though. So where you're at right now, this point in the map is pretty useless. You're not really going to do a whole lot for your team. There's an IS-7 there, but nobody else is really probably going to push across there. And you can push the IS-7. You don't want to push the IS-7 frontally like that. If you want to come to the IS-7, go around behind him, make sure you get a penetrating shot and kill him. Okay, so basically you didn't light there and you've been sitting around for the past couple of minutes doing nothing. You can get a shot on this 1390 from over here, but it's fairly dangerous. See how they have the majority of their tanks over here? What you really need to be is in a position where you can help out those guys over there. You've still got the majority of your firepower. See these guys back here probably really haven't gotten any shots yet. Ooh, this can potentially be good. Aim to your left just a little bit more. That'll probably hit. But your guys are dying over here, in part because they control this area right here and this area right here, and it's difficult. Like if you're these guys, you don't push this area until this area has some pressure, right? If you're these guys, right, you want to be able to have somebody up underneath here where you can light these guys, which makes it really easy for them to get shot from over here and to a lesser extent from over here. And also artillery, etc., etc., etc. So you're doing a whole lot of camping right now, which at this point in the game is fine, but up until now, you probably needed to be a lot more active than you were.
It's a trap!
For some reason, you have an ISA pushing across now. This is never a good place to push, unless for some reason they have a lot of campers on this side. And then it's not really a good place to push. You just go there to light them and then shoot them from the middle. So everybody now needs to see how these guys, they're pushing up here now. Now is not the time to push up here. I don't understand why people push once they've lost a side. You've lost this side, so now what you need to do is compact. You need to bring those guys back. These guys should have been much further forward, much earlier on, and now they need to be a little bit further back. You can move out here if you want, because you have the speed and the camo to do so, but you don't want to have tank destroyers out there. And so I just want to point out that the playstyle that you've adopted to this point in the game is counter to the tank that you have. You have a light tank, so you've been doing some spotting, but you haven't really been in a position to deal much damage, because you know all of your shots with a 152 millimeter gun have been from like 500 meters or more, so, or you know, from a long range, right? And that's not the way that you deal damage in this tank, especially when you see so much of your weight go to this north side. You want to be able to spot for them, you know, to be in a position where you can utilize your gun for their benefit. And then remember, the camo deficit on firing is relative to the gun that you're firing. Since you're using a 152, it really bites into the camo. I don't think that guy would light you from 420 meters. I'm just saying. And then what you want to do at this point is where you're at is fine, because you want to be able to light them coming in. Ideally, these guys would not be here. They would be a little bit further back, maybe back where they were initially. This 268's in the right place. As long as this IS-8 is alive, you don't need to come over, but as soon as this IS-8 dies, you need to leave this side and come back, because you can't leave this guy over here on his own. No, 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 no. Absolutely not. Don't do that. You absolutely did not want to fire that. What you wanted to do was make sure that you could kill that guy, not take a hope shot like that.
It's a trap!
So they're pushing through the middle, so if you go over here, that puts them in a bad position because you can light them and people in the base and that FE-183. So you can light that Tiger 2 as he pushes through, you can light the Awful Panther as he pushes through. Go across over here and you'll be relatively safe from direct fire. You've basically abandoned your 183. If the 1375 was dead, you could leave the FE-183. But you need to get into a position where you can shoot that guy. See how he's basically in the open poking against your guy? You can go over here, right? You'd actually have to drive down a little bit now to shoot him. But you're not going to get shots from where you're at, unfortunately. And that's why it was important for you to just wait and make sure you killed that 1375. So it's going to be another 446 meter snipe shot, which is not what you want. Meanwhile, this Tiger 2 is pushing across. It's not going to be a problem. The Su-68 is going to be able to eat him up. So another long distance snipe shot, which is, again, as I've said, not what you want. So you've lost that side, and that's fine. But at least you killed the 1375 on this side. That's good news. You want to be able to take out that Awful Panther. Oh, good. And they already destroyed the 268. That's fantastic. You want to go over here right now. The 268 can spot this side. You need to spot anything that comes in over here or anything over here. Too much campy, not enough actual doing things. There's some tanks that you can camp in. You never really want to camp in a light tank with a 152mm gun because it's not like you can deal effective damage. You don't have the DPM and you're unlikely to be able to pen anyways. So you want to be someplace where you can be effective to light for your 268, for example. And so you want to prevent them. You wanted to prevent them from getting up underneath here, and you can do that best from right there. The E100 is over there, but the E100 isn't that big of a concern. Your concern is that your 268 is going to get pushed, and you're still camping. So again, the point that I'm trying to make here is that even if you light something here, the distance at which you're going to be fired essentially is negated by your gun. The best use of this gun is from point blank range, and ideally what you do is you literally drive around to the back of a tank and you shoot through the engine deck. That's ideally what you do in this tank. Anything else that you get, I mean, occasionally you can pen, like, you know, French tanks with very thin armor frontally or from the side, but in order to make the 152 work, you need to get penetrating shots. In order to get penetrating shots, you need to be more regularly penetrating shots. You need to be from close range. You should have aimed that shot. You need to kill one of those guys, either one. The E100 is kind of hiding, so he's somewhat safe. Awful Panther.
It's a trap.
Yeah, the Awful Panther is gonna kill your buddy. Lol. 183 hit the track. You're loaded. Both of the guys shot at you, and you didn't go to shoot any of them. I don't know where you're going. Too much running away, too much camping, not enough. You're playing away from the strengths of the tank. Lol.
It's a trap!
And then you just need to make sure that this pans.
It's a trap!
Very good. I don't see why you couldn't have done that same thing to the low just earlier, or the same thing to the Awful Panther. Yeah, I think that you were just way too passive in that game. You tried to snipe way too much. Uh, I think the only good forward thing that you did was you moved over here. I didn't like the fact that your tank destroyers moved up there. You moved over here, right, and which prevented a lot of these guys from coming down. Eventually, they got somebody to come up over here, the 1375. You had an opportunity to take the 1375. You took a snapshot when you shouldn't have taken a snapshot. You should have just either pushed him and made sure that you killed him, or not shot him at all. Just too passive. Too passive and too long of a distance. And so if we look at the stats, 33, 52, how much did you do that? 5120. Oh, I thought it showed us. Maybe it doesn't. Oh, there it goes. 927 with that on that 50, 120. Not bad. But yeah, just too much shooting from too long of a range to actually be effective. So you want to be sure that you're a bit closer than that. Let's see, 53, 55 did work. I think he had a penetrating shot on that 268, or one of those two. I don't know which 268 it was. But yeah, could have gotten a lot more out of your tank destroyers. It's unfortunate that this FE-183, he was camping too much as well. Him and the T-28 prototype were camping way too much, and that's why they have a low shot count. Both of these guys, they lived until the end of the game, but they didn't really fire very much, which is, so the whole idea is on most maps, in most situations, you always want to be firing at something. And if you find yourself going through these long periods of time where you're not firing at anything, usually that means that you're playing too far back, or you're in a bad spot. On very rare occasions, it means that you're holding back a flank with 10 tanks. But for the most part, if you're not getting shots, you're probably doing it wrong. But yeah, I think the greatest flaw, I mean, you did get 3k damage, but the greatest flaw is that all that damage is basically luck. You're lobbing softballs 400 meters across the map and just crossing your fingers and hoping that it hits. And that's really not how you want to play this tank. Nice try though, GG.